Clere. I oversee the Stuckert Career Center here at UK, and we're pleased today to have a number of our colleagues from Accenture with us to field student questions and just to share information about career pathways available to students and alumni with Accenture. And I think today we're going to start off with introductions on the Accenture side, and definitely encourage our student participants, if you're in a location where you're comfortable turning on your camera and we can see your face. It always, I think, for these meetings is great. If not, we understand, but we hope our audio is coming through well. We are recording this to post at a later time for folks who either want to watch it again or can't attend today. So why don't I flip this over to Valerie, Valerie Koach, and thank you, Valerie.
Yeah, so I will kind of kick us off today. I'm just going to share my screen with some presentation material that we have today. And then I'll give us, a brief overview of, what Accenture is, what we do, and then I'll pass it to our wonderful speakers that we have. And then they'll tell more about themselves. So thank you all for joining. We're really excited to be here today. Like Ray said, I am Valerie Koach. I am a full-time Accenture employee, but also an alumni from UK. So really exciting, and I'm excited to be speaking with you guys today. I love, doing these events with UK. It's so fun, and we're excited to share more about Accenture. So yeah, just our agenda today. I'm going to go over kind of, who are we? Who is Accenture? We'll hear from our speakers. They have a variety of topics to share with you today. And then we really want to open it up to you guys, the students, into an open Q&A session. So we will save questions until that time, but feel free, as we're speaking, if a question pops into your mind, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll have one of our Accenture colleagues monitor the chat when we get to that open Q&A portion. And we can read through those, and we'll kind of popcorn around and answer those questions for you. But also when that time comes, feel free to come off of mute. We would love to hear your voices as well. And then we'll kind of wrap up our presentation with some of those next steps and available opportunities that Accenture has for you all to be thinking about going forward, and some opportunities that are available right now for you. So lots of exciting stuff coming up. And then this is just, we have 4 great speakers today. So as we get into it more, they'll share more about themselves. But we have Scott, Josh, Aarti, and Abby that are joining us today, and they will be speaking about specific topics that should be very interesting for you all to hear. So there are also a different range of levels within Accenture. So some more entry level, some more senior, and then Abby is one of our recruiters. So yes, so we have kind of a variety of people with us today. So what is Accenture? Who are we? Accenture is very, it's overarching. We cover a lot of different topics, and we work with a lot of different people. So it's kind of hard to nail down, who exactly we are. But in a nutshell, we are a global professional services company, referred to as a consulting firm. We help our clients, with a multitude of problems, and we help, trying to transition them to the next level in regards to technology or their growth models, things of that nature. We have a lot of employees. We have 700,000, worldwide. So we are a large company. And like I said, that is worldwide. So we have offices all across the globe, servicing those clients, pretty much anywhere. We're located within 200 cities within Accenture, or 200 cities at Accenture, across 50 different countries. We serve around 7,000 different clients in over 120 countries. And, we have long-term client partners. So like you can see there, 98 of our top 100 clients have been with us for at least 10 years. So we really thrive on our partnerships that we form with those clients, and we form really great relationships with them that are long lasting. And so we work very closely with those type of clients. So here's just more of an overview of our North America region. So you can see those different offices that we do have And they're kind of broken up by different regions of the country. So we have our Midwest region, our South region, Northeast and West. So we don't have an office directly in Lexington, but the closest one would be in Cincinnati. But like I said, they're located, all across the country. Very, it depends on where you would want to land. But, we have different clients in different regions. So it kind of depends on where you're located to what those clients would be that you'd be serving in those areas. Yeah, so like I said, Accenture it's a lot, and we'll go into more of the specific details with our speakers. But yeah, so I will pass it on to Scott, where he will talk about kind of those different areas of Accenture and different development programs for those new hires. So Scott, take us away.
All right. Thanks, Valerie, and thank you guys for having us today. I'm going to be covering some of the different areas that Accenture offers, and this could be an entire week-long deal because, like Valerie said, we have 700,000 employees that are under Accenture, not including subcontractors. So, and that is spread throughout the globe. But the main areas that we cover we break it into 5 different areas, and that is, as you see in the bottom left, strategy consulting, Accenture Song, technology, operations, and industry X. So I'm gonna break each one of these down a little bit, but these would have business practices within them as their area of focus. They also have, each of them has, as you'll see on the right, a development program, and that development program is really what you come into as a new analyst, which would be the entry-level role at Accenture. And there's a whole series of things that Accenture does to support you and let you know of the culture and all the stuff that's available. So I know it's going to be covered in more depth, but if we could go to the next slide, we'll jump into these different areas. So strategy and consulting really is what you would, the 2 portions of probably more traditionally known as management consulting. It's been rebranded a little bit. This is where a client, which we call an enterprise or a business, an enterprise, right, they would approach us about trying to make their business more streamlined and efficient by using models and or setting up an operation. So like one classic example of the strategy and consulting work that we do, because I want to put some real tangible things in your hand to kind of just understand that as one of the largest organizations, we are charged with some very large projects. So in the strategy consulting world, we are working with a leading, an industry leading retailer, a big storefront to streamline their business process, and an initiative that is looking to save them on their streamlining their supply chain to save them as much as $1 billion a year in cost just by restructuring their business. Accenture Song is another line of one of our other 5 service industries, and that really is focused on the customer experience. So that is anything that interacts with customers, from service tickets to to self-service portals. I know UK has it. I'm not sure whether we support UK's system specifically, but any HR system where you're putting in time off, any marketing campaigns, public relation campaigns, really anything that is client facing in the story that we tell. Hence, the Accenture Song is the story that we tell. On the technology side, this is a little bit more of of your technical people, your computer people, and your engineers. And I know Aarti will go into that a little more. This is, when I came to Accenture, I thought that this was the whole business. And then I learned more and more and more about all the kinds of stuff that we do. But technology is where I live. And I think Josh and Aarti as well. But this is really software implementations, and businesses these days, as you probably have seen through the years, more and more stuff is automated. More and more stuff that you buy goes over e-commerce. Like I said earlier, all the human, the HR stuff that you do, all the stuff you do for registering for classes, all of it has been computerized and automated. And putting these systems in takes a considerable amount of time and expertise. And that falls under technology. Operations is an area where we continue to support the business. Now, part of operations is continuing to support the IT departments, similar to such as the one at UK, right? Once we do the implementation, we provide hypercare. We continue to support that. That's one thing we do. We also do business process outsourcing, where we can run customer service departments. We do escalated IT tickets. We do lots of different things. Notably, one of the things that Accenture has received a lot of recognition for in the news is our rapid response to the pandemic. So we had involvement in several different things with that. One was to support the unemployment claims process as that surged in. Another was that was a pretty big deal for Accenture, was the distribution of the COVID packets. So that's something that Accenture is pretty proud of. And those fall under our operations business. And then the last one on the right hand side, I don't know if you can see it, I've got pictures kind of in the way, but is Industry X. And so this particular operation is a very like engineering heavy operation. They are the big project that they work on is for 3 different of your major car manufacturers. They are building test benches. So when you have a new vehicle that comes out each year, all the electronics, all the consoles and everything needs to be wired up into a small bench that's about like that wide, and to be able to send to the engineers for your tier 1 automotive and your OEM manufacturers. So some of, I can't give you the big names specifically, but all of the many of the major car manufacturers have us build these electronic systems, and so that they then send them to the engineers to see how they will perform in actual environment. So that's a very hands-on industry, and actually straight from the ground up build on that. So those are our 5 different areas that we offer. And with that, I will pass it over to Aarti to talk about some of the skills that we look for and how these different service industries will align to different majors.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? Okay, I had a little bit of an audio issue earlier. All right, I see a couple of nods. Thank you so much for having us here. I'm really excited to be here and trying to help as much as I can with any questions that come up later. So a little bit about me. I'm Aarti Pimplay. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. I work with Accenture Technology and I'm aligned with the Salesforce Business Group, also banking, where we basically implement cloud-based commercial lending softwares for financial institutions. My background has been a mix of management, finance, engineering, manufacturing. So any questions in those areas I'll be happy to help. So the 2 things that I wanted to cover today, the first one is the obvious question that what is it that Accenture is looking for? What are some of the skills? So the way I look at it is we should focus mainly first on the soft skills. The main one that I wrote down, like the three ones that are important for me and I understood in the last 1 year with Accenture, was the having learning agility to start with. And what I mean by that is with, every project is so different. No two projects are the same, right? There's so many new skills you learn on every project that you get staffed to. So having that curiosity to learn new skills, to learn new processes, and then the faster you can learn, the faster you're in a good position, the better you're in a position to deliver and make a place for yourself at Accenture. So having that curiosity to learn and showing that agility towards learning is something that Accenture really values. The second point is adaptability. Why I say adaptability is especially because of the world we are in, right? With COVID kicking in, like during pandemic days, we all have started working from home majority of the times, especially in the consulting area. There is so much of diversity, and Accenture is vast. It's spread not only in the US, it's spread throughout the world. There are so many offices, there's so many teammates, not just, so when you're working in Accenture, you're not just working with Accenture teammates, you're working with teammates in the project, you're working in geographies that you have not been to. So having that adaptability is very important. And how does that come? That comes with just being open to change, and that is something that we really value, being open to change, being respectable of each other. And that is something that is extremely important and valued at Accenture. And last but not the least is communication, just being able to communicate your ideas, convey your ideas in a simple manner. You don't have to make things complicated. When I say communication, it's not just the verbal communication, also the written communications, because a lot of times, like I said, you're working in an environment where you're not able to sit with the person next to you while working on the project. So you need to be able to communicate to your ideas in a very effective manner. So that is something that is very important, and one should, and these are all skills that one has to work on ourselves too. Like, it's not that easy to acquire, but it's not impossible. So those are some of the things that we really value. Some of the others that I didn't mention but are really obvious are, of course, professionalism, problem solving skills. These are obviously the ones that every company will look for. But so these were some of the soft skills. When I was in undergrad or grad school, there was a lot of pressure put on the hard skills. So I don't want us to take that pressure, not to what do I have in terms of hard skills to offer, because that is something that you can always learn. So something as simple as being efficient in MS Office is a great, that's a great skill to have, because majority of the projects that I have worked on, the tool that we work on is mainly Excel, where you do all your analysis. Microsoft Excel, you use Microsoft Outlook for collaboration, communication. PPTs, you make decks to communicate your ideas to the client. So these are some of the skills that you should and that's basic, right? All of us need to know these. So that is, if you focus on this, that's great. If that's a minimum that you can do. And then if you happen to have any other technical language skills, that's awesome. That's just cherry on top of the cake. But don't be too hard on yourself. Just focus on showing that curiosity, showing that good attitude and happiness, being present in the moment is what is important. So yeah, so those are some of the skills I wanted to cover. Now, talking about the majors that Accenture is looking at, you'll notice that I've sort of mentioned everything here. And that's really been my experience. Like, the last 1 year I've been in Accenture, I have come across people from all backgrounds. And before I joined Accenture, the perception I had was it's a technology company, so only STEM majors would be needed, or only I need to know technology to be able to join Accenture. That's not the case. You could be coming from accounting, you could be coming from psychology area. Everyone has a place in Accenture, and there is a place to prosper, and there's an opportunity to grow in Accenture no matter what background you come from. So yeah, I'm really happy and excited to be here, and I hope this helps everyone. I just had these things to cover. I'll pass it on to Josh. Thank you.
Thanks, Aarti. Yeah, what Aarti's been talking about with the fact that we're covering all majors, it's because the types of roles that are offered at the Accenture company are very diverse. I know when I joined Accenture 6 years ago, I was getting into a position where I wasn't sure if Accenture was going to be the right company for me because I was being told, like Aarti said, well, Accenture focuses on technology. They need a lot of developers. And it's true, we do have a lot of development roles, but we also have all the other roles in between. So for example, here what I have listed is we have functional roles, technical roles, leadership roles, and then there's everything else: sales, change management, support processes, HR. Really, there's just countless roles. If you have a 700,000 person company, you expect to have all these different types of roles here. So ultimately, it depends on the type of career that you want to drive. One of the things that we definitely focus on when you join Accenture is talking about your aspirations with your career. Every individual at Accenture is assigned what's called a people lead, which is someone who's a few levels up, who's been there a little bit longer than you. And that people lead's goal is to be able to help you understand what your career should look like. Are you going to want to go up the technical side of things? Are you going to want to focus on specific software? Are you more of a people person? You'd rather be that functional in-between man who does the translations from the client requirements to what the development teams actually needs to write. The ultimate goal is that every single member of the Accenture family has that people lead to help shape their career. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you to be able to drive your career in the direction that you want to go and that you feel comfortable with. So by driving that career, part of that is a ongoing learning material. And Accenture does an incredible job of providing resources for free for you to be able to continue learning and growing in these specialties and the areas and the softwares that you want to continue focusing on in your career. So I've listed a few of the things here on this slide. We have a program called My Learning, which is basically our hub for all things training related, learning related. It's anything from your standard ethics and computer compliance courses to Amazon Web Services certifications, Salesforce certifications. It just depends on the type of software and the career that you're going for. If you get staffed in one role and you really want to continue growing in that role and being able to expand your responsibilities, it would behoove you to go through these additional trainings for free to be able to expand your knowledge, expand your strengths, and be able to better yourself. But also at the end of the day, if you decide, you know what, I actually want to focus on a different software, I want to go a different direction, I'm really excited about what the metaverse is doing, or I'm really excited about how Amazon Web Services is shaping the world, I want to get more information on that. All of the learning is going to be provided for you and given to you for free. And it's encouraged that you go through and continue to do that type of learning throughout your Accenture career. Like Aarti was mentioning, we take on all sorts of different majors from all sorts of different backgrounds. But the one commonality that we have with all of our people is we're all very focused on our own individual careers, are the people around our careers, helping each other to grow and to become better people, to become better members at Accenture. And part of that starts with the training and the learning. So Accenture knows how to give back to our own people so that we can give back to each other and ultimately at the end of the day, help out our clients. So that's what I'm going to focus on. And I think we'll pass it back off to, is Abby next?
We'll actually move into our open Q&A right now. And I do see there's a lot of activity in the chat. Would love to start hearing with that. Abby will kind of wrap us up at the end to talk more about those opportunities that are waiting for students. But we'd love to hear from you, the students now, for any questions that you have. I know we covered a lot in a little bit of time. So I'm sure that there's, clarifications or, if you want us to give more detail into something, please feel free to come off mute or drop that in the chat. But Taylor, do we have any questions in the chat right now?
I don't see any questions in the chat right now. See a lot of really good majors in here though, so that's awesome.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat. Was that someone throw an icebreaker in there?
I've been trying to get people to talk to me in the chat, but
I did see
Awesome.
Abby. I want to call out. I saw a couple of psych majors in the chat, and I will mention that some of my favorite people that I've worked with Accenture are psych majors. They really have a lot of those people skills that we're looking for.
Absolutely. I just hired a psychology major, a sociology major. I think I even just hired an anthropology major. So, all the ologies.
Ooh, can I take that first one there? Madeline asked, does your company offer any work from home jobs?
Yeah, go for it.
I want to take that one because particularly since COVID, this has become a big strong suit. I actually was traveling for Accenture Mondays through Thursdays nonstop, and then COVID happened and we got sent home. And I have gone back to my client site once since that whole thing started. I've been working from home nonstop since then. But even before COVID, I do want to call out that Accenture has been really flexible with different people's work environments. I know we've had even some managing directors that have been, saying that they want to take some time back from traveling to be able to focus on their family, be able to focus on staying at home a little bit more. And so Accenture's done a great job of focusing on that. But particularly right now, depending on the client you get put on, there's a lot of work from home positions.
Yeah, I want to just tag onto that. Most of our roles, especially in this development program, are not going to be completely remote roles. But like Josh said, most of us go into the office. I, by choice, really go into the office 1 to 2 days a week. But yeah, you do still kind of need to be open to going in the office occasionally.
Abby makes a great point about going in the office. I should call that out though. The client office that you might be staffed on is different than your local office that you're based out of. So for example, right now I'm working with a client in Detroit. And so I've been to Detroit twice in the last 2 years that I've been working with them, but I'm based out of Columbus, Ohio. So I go into the Columbus office at least once every month, typically 2 to 3 times. And a lot of the times we're going into the Columbus office for more local events and other Accenture groups that I'm a part of. It's a good call out.
Yeah, somebody asked if the work environment at Accenture is more competitive or collaborative. Who wants to jump on that one?
I can take that one. I would say it's collaborative. It's very collaborative, but it's just not. It's healthy competition. Like I, at least personally, when I look at my work, I need that competition. I need that, that sort of like drives me. So it's not just like, okay, nobody cares like how you're doing and how your, of course, there's performance management and assessment, but it's never, you're never made to feel like, oh my God, it's cutthroat competition and I cannot, develop myself here. It's all about just getting the deliverables and delivering on those deliverables. It's not just that. Always the focus has been in the last 1 year that I've been with Accenture that they are very people centric. They always focus on growing and making sure that you are comfortable in the role you're in and understanding your limitations and then assessing you based on that. So I would say it's collaborative and highly very it is competitive, but in a good way.
Yeah,
I
I
would
would say teamwork is, one of our main focuses as well. We're always working in teams, trying to accomplish the same goal. So, in your respective projects or whatever work you're doing, people are really encouraging you to, be your best self and helping you out. Because in the end, your individual work does reflect your group as a whole. So they want everyone to be, just as successful.
Yeah, one thing that I've really had to grow into and learn is that Accenture is it definitely is collaborative, and it's very much each person's experience of Accenture is going to be a little different, and it's because of the way that Accenture is structured. That everybody's experience is going to be different. So when you're hired into Accenture, we refer to that as being a resource, and then you get staffed to a project. So like Josh mentioned, he's doing a project in Detroit. I recently have moved over to some federal government work, and I'm remote, and Josh has gone in a couple of times. So he's in the healthcare industry. I'm in and I apologize for leaving you. I'm in the federal within the federal government ranks, we'll just say, and apologize for leaving you out, Aarti, because I'm not entirely sure what your role is. But it's very common to move roles. You might be on a project for 5 years in a row because they might do a series of implementations, a series of whether that be a strategy and consulting roles, or whether that be part of like maybe change management. A lot of psychology majors do go on to careers in change management on IT teams as well, right? So, but you might be on a project for quite a long time and work with the same handful of people, but you might be on different projects as well. So you might do like 4 months on one project, and then 2 weeks later you get staffed to another project. And we all have what we call alignments, and that is like what type of industry we usually work in and what kind of role we do in that industry. But you might do a project in aerospace and defense, and then you might do a project in healthcare, and then you might do one in life sciences. So, and even you might do, a change management role, and then you might go into doing project management office, PMO work, where you're staffing up a project and you're, doing project management stuff. So the diversity is you're going to move around, you're going to meet different people. Like networking is huge. Some people like on sales teams might do a ton of traveling. I have gone in, I go in the office about once a month or twice a month, similar to Josh, but I have not been out to a client site. That might be a higher level position, typically goes out there. So it's very much, a unique experience. But what I can say is that there, as far as coming back around to the collaboration piece, there's very much, collaboration is huge, and the phrase to each one teach one seems to really resonate at Accenture. That we have a buddy program with folks that might be one career level ahead of you. When you first come in, you can sign up for that. But there's also like the people lead, which we've referred to, which will kind of serve as your career counselor. And you pick who that person is, but they will help you to know if you are doing the kinds of things you need to be doing when promotion times come. We do it twice a year, right? So there's that built in, and then also there's the different development programs, and those help you to understand more about Accenture's culture. They give you like the model on how we do the Accenture delivery model on how we run a project. They tell you where learning stuff is, the different learning opportunities. They teach you to use the different, they give you trainings when you first get there on where time reporting is, and how to build your goals out, and how to network and meet people, because it's just a constant dynamic thing that the longer that you stay around, the more you get to know different people in different industries. In a company of 700,000 people, there's going to be somebody that knows something that you're going to need to know, right? So the work that we do and the stuff that we see is different every single day. And if you've been doing a certain module for software delivery for 20 years, you're still going to come across stuff that you don't know in that module. You're still going to come across stuff in a project that you don't know. And so it is very collaborative, because there's just a recognition that nobody knows everything about everything. And so everybody needs everybody to have folks to pick up the phone and say, hey, I work in sales and distribution, but I need to know something about product lifecycle management module in SAP. Even though that's my technology, I don't know anything about, PLM, right? So and there's 60 to 100 modules within SAP, and that's just one technology. And then there's Salesforce, which is what Josh does, and there's Oracle, and it just goes on and on and on. So yeah, networking, getting to know people, and using the networking tools to just find somebody and just ping them and say, hey, I see you do this. I need to know some more about that for my job is, it's very instrumental. It's at the core and the design of our business.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. A lot of information you shared, so maybe we'll get some more questions off this too.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I do think we have some more questions in the chat. So I think one of them was about my learning.
Yeah, so my learning, as Josh said, is specifically for Accenture employees, but I will talk about a learning opportunity after the Q&A. So let's hold on that quick question. But I thought the other question that Josh, you answered as well about, are any of the international collaborations, or most of the companies in Accenture works within the US? No, we work with a lot of international companies, and just like Josh said, we do try to staff you, especially early in your career, kind of in a regional model. However, once you kind of grow through your career and maybe go join the global team, you can certainly have the opportunity to work abroad, work with international companies. I actually just was asked if I would move to Japan or Buenos Aires. So
Oh my gosh.
I can't do it. I have kids, but you guys could. So yeah, there's definitely opportunity for international movement within Accenture.
And you also have the opportunity with a lot of, we call them +1 activities with Accenture, which are some extra career growth opportunities that you can do in addition to your actual staffed project. Like I mentioned earlier, I do a lot of work with Accenture's investment in the metaverse and some of that VR technology. And so I'll be working with a lot of individuals over in Germany and Europe and Asia. And then my project right now, and this is a very common thing with a lot of projects, will have two sides of it. They'll have an onshore team, which are local employees closer to the client, spread across the United States, and then they'll have an offshore team, which is typically a development or a testing team that's located in some areas like India or the Philippines that can basically do a lot of that work while we sleep, so that it's more of a 24-hour project turnaround. Allows us to hit numbers a lot faster and support our client for a round-the-clock service. So a little international collaboration, going back to that competitiveness versus collaboration there.
Yeah, those are good points to make. Yeah, I know our teams are normally very diverse depending on the project that you're on, but yeah, it does spread across, a multitude of countries of people that you might be working with. So it is interesting to, once you get to know them, you can hear more of their life stories and really get to communicate with people all over the world, which is a really unique experience, I think, in a work environment.
New question in the chat. Do you all generally work during business hours or on your own time?
Ooh, good question.
That's a good one. Yeah. Anyone want to take that one? Can you take this?
So I can just share my experience based on last year that I've been with the company. Business hours, yes, mostly business hours, but it depends on when your calls are scheduled, and those calls depend. So like, one of us mentioned in the chat, I think Josh mentioned in the chat, a lot of times, just in my project, for example, I'm one of the functional track leads in my project. So we are at the onshore side, but there are people on the offshore who are the development team who are actually, configuring the design in the system. So there are times when calls are set up that would not be like 9 to 5 calls, they may be like 8:30 calls, but it just depends on the need. It's always very flexible. At the end of the day, the message is that the work needs to be done, right? So there is a work, you have a task, you have something in hand to deliver. There's a lot of flexibility where you can always, if you have any concerns, if you have any limitations, you can always get that you can always get that run by your manager, it's always there. But for the most part, it's generally set up based on the calls that you attend within your project. And with me, in it's generally my day starts at so I'm based in the Eastern time zone, right? And there are teammates on the Pacific time zone, and then there are people in IST time zone, which is India. So a lot of times the calls do start early. Sometimes they start at 8, or these days it is at 10 o'clock, which is awesome for me. And they generally finish by 5 or 5:30, which is like not a whole lot. And then sometimes it does happen that there is work that I need to complete after 5, but that is not something, there is no expectation by by my manager or anyone that I have to stay back after 5. It is just out of my own comfort or my own interest that I sometimes would maybe extend another half an hour after 5 o'clock to just finish up that work. But that is totally by my choice. Nobody puts that pressure on me. And yeah, that's what I hope that answered.
Yeah, so would you say, Aarti, that your work-life balance is pretty good? You have a good way of,
I
cutting
wouldn't
off
have
work and
absolutely. I am very happy here. My manager, my people lead, everybody is so flexible. I'm in fact traveling to India next week, and I was concerned about my vacation days. So they were so flexible to be, they're allowing me to work from India in the time when it is suitable for me. So it's very easy. Like it's all about relationship building. You can't, like, on day one start demanding that this is what I need. It's about managing expectations, building those relationships with your manager, and making reasonable demands, like reasonable so yeah, to answer your question, Valerie, my work-life balance I'm very happy with. I have no concerns. I'm able to find time for my personal and professional life very well.
good. That's great to hear.
And yeah, and between the lines of kind of what Aarti was saying, it depends a lot on what client that you work for. Like if you're working for a state government or a federal, there's probably not going to be anybody that you can reach after 5 p.m. Now, if you are you're in the Eastern time zone and you are working on a project in Oregon, then there's nobody that you're going to be able to reach before 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you're probably still going to be want to reach by 7 p.m. The other thing is there are phases within the software delivery where you're getting ready to go live, and you might work longer days. But then there's the realization that you can kind of flex and comp that a little bit, right? So one of the things that Accenture really looks for is, somebody that can take ownership of their career, somebody that can take that can sit down and and show up for work and isn't going to have to, they're not going to have to worry about people being there and doing something productive, because there might be a time where you have a couple weeks or a month where you're looking for a new project to become part of because your project has finished up and you're doing training, and you still got to show up to work, and you still got to do some trainings, and you still got to network and ask people what other projects are going around. You can't sit there and wait months and months and months and just say, well, maybe somebody will reach out to me at some point. They want people who want to work. And at the same time, they're going to respect you and they're not going to micromanage you. So that's kind of what I was talking about, where it's a little bit different, because you do move projects and you are, I don't want to say you're your own boss, but you kind of are your own boss. And the people that really can handle that and keep themselves accountable to that, and being productive and working towards being on projects and stuff like that, those are the people that Accenture retains and promotes.
Yeah, definitely. Good point, Scott. I think that there aren't any new questions in the chat.
I do just want to say one thing on that. I'm glad Kaylin brought that up because work-life balance is strongly promoted, but also mental health is a really big thing at Accenture. It's one of the reasons why Accenture is, always voted in the top 100 and the greater places to work. We recognize that a consultant's life can be very stressful, especially depending on certain projects that you can get on. And overworking yourself and burnout are real things. So we strongly promote a culture of being able to support each other, but also being able to recognize your own mental health and your own ability to be able to step back and be able to rebalance your work-life balance. Because if you burn yourself out, that's something that can have detrimental impacts on your emotional health, your mental health, your physical health, your social health. They're all related. So Scott makes a really great point. We are very career focused. We want folks who want to drive their own career and become better and grow. But at the same time, you need to be able to step back and know your limits as well.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to note that, we are also encouraged to use our PTO, our paid time off. So, you're most likely not going to be rejected, a vacation if you want to take one. We're given these PTO hours for a reason, and we are very encouraged to use them if we have them. And it's important to use them and not feel afraid to, take a day off, even if, you don't have any plans, but maybe you just need a day of relaxation or to keep your laptop shut or something. So that's also still very encouraged. Okay, we have almost, let me see if anything else. Yes, thank you for that clarification of PTO in the chat. Awesome. Okay, so if we don't have any more immediate questions, and we have about 10 minutes left, so I will pass it to Abby to kind of talk about some of those opportunities that we have available for students and those next steps that you guys can take.
Hi, yes, my name is Abby Carleton, and I attended University of Kentucky in the very early 2000s, so seems like a very long time ago. I am an entry-level recruiting location lead. So I actually oversee all of our entry-level hiring. So our interns and our entry-level analysts into Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland offices. I've also jumped in and helped with other locations like Chicago, Detroit. I actually jumped over and helped with Houston and Austin a little bit because we are all a team and we jump in and help when people, just a common question that people ask us is, do you have the bandwidth to help with this? And so we are very collaborative in that sense, is that, we all jump in and help each other out. So I am on the HR side, so I don't actually have any clients. I work for, the corporate side and bring all you lovely people through process. So I know you're all very curious about what opportunities we currently have available. So the first thing I'm going to kind of do is help educate you on our hiring timeline. So for both our interns and our full-time entry-level analysts, we start recruiting over a full year in advance. So at this point, we've already filled all of our 2023 roles. And we'll start recruiting for our 2024 roles in August. And so, yes, I do work for you. So I love all your comments, Josh. So just want to be very clear that if you would like to work with Accenture, you need to get involved with us very early. We give you a lot of opportunities to engage and really kind of jump on board early with us, but you really need to be thinking about applying. So if you're looking for a summer internship in 2024 or a full-time role when you graduate in 2024, you need to be planning to start looking to apply late July, early August. Will you go ahead and go to the next slide, Val? So the next upcoming opportunity we have is going to be our Elevate to Innovate Diversity Tech externship. The registration is open right now for that. You can apply. We're going to send this deck out afterwards. So you'll all have all of these links I'm about to show you. So basically, this is going to be a 2-day immersive virtual experience. So you can do it right from the comfort of your dorm or home or wherever you are. It's going to be from 12 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. It's meant to be able to kind of work around your schedule. If you have an internship, if you need to flex your time, we are going to be very flexible with you, but it'll be a combination of learning sessions, lots of networking opportunities, maybe some case studies, engagement activities. And then once that this concludes, we're going to give the people who apply for this and participate an early application. So even before the August deadline that I talked about, those people who participated in this will be able to get an application link prior to everyone else in North America. So that's where this is really valuable. So I definitely encourage you to apply. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And I think, Kaylin, you were asking about the learning opportunities. One that is really cool, and I wanted to specifically speak to, is the Forage. So that's truly what it's like to work at Accenture. We have 6 free learning courses to gain consulting skills. Ones, I actually have it pulled up because I couldn't remember what all of them were. So that includes, the programs include strategy consulting, data analytics and visualization, client research and problem identification, process design, product design, and coding, and project management. So all very beneficial and engaging opportunities. I'm actually just going to ping that link right here for you, so you can go and start learning for free now. Even if you don't come and work for Accenture, these will truly benefit you going forward. And again, we'll keep you engaged. We also have other offerings throughout the year. So we have the Accenture Leadership Program. We have an Innovation Challenge. Those usually happen in early January, February. We have the Diversity Tech Summit externship. And then we have the Staying Connected series. So definitely check out all of these links, learn more about Accenture and how you can stay involved, because that's what I will say is it's very competitive. So the more ways you can interact with our management, the better. I'm going to pause really quickly there. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Okay, next slide. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's the end. So does anybody have any questions about recruiting? Just so you know, as a newer analyst or entry-level analyst, you do come on with 20 days of paid time off, plus 8 holidays, plus 2 culture days that you can use at any point. So you start with a lot of great paid time off, and then you can also flex your time. So we're very, very supportive of people having a real life outside of Accenture.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly say that I was a summer intern before joining full-time at Accenture. So while I was a student at UK, I interned the summer going into my junior and senior year of college. It was an awesome experience. I highly recommend it for underclassmen, or kind of if you're in that time frame. It's very fun. You meet a lot of people. The first one I did was pre-COVID, so I actually was in person. I got to travel to the client site. And then my second one was during COVID, but we adapted, and we just transitioned to fully remote. So 2 very different experiences, but I still learned a lot. I worked with great teams, and it prepared me a lot before I started full-time. I felt like I kind of had a good grasp of, what Accenture does, what's expected of me, and things like that. And it's just kind of, it helps bridge the gap and makes it easier to join full time. And normally you can get offered a return offer to join full time or for that second internship. And so I just kind of stuck with it and found my home here at Accenture. So would definitely encourage it.
Yes, I'm so glad that you talked about that. One other, I think it was already on that first slide, but I am I'm on the leadership team for our summer analyst program, and I plan all of our launch week activities for the first week for all of our summer analysts. And we actually last summer we were voted in the top 100 internship programs. So I'm very excited. It's a paid internship. a very competitively paid internship with a lot of great opportunities. Now that we're really diving into giving a more in-person experience since the pandemic, it just keeps getting better and better. So we have a lot of new exciting things coming this summer and next summer. And so it's just a really fulfilling program.
Yeah, definitely. If there aren't any last minute questions, I'll just kind of wrap us up. I did just want to thank everyone for joining. We really enjoy speaking with you all, and we hope to continue doing these type of events. Like it was mentioned previously, we will be sending out this presentation. We'll send it to Ray, and then he can distribute it amongst the students that joined, and it is being recorded. So feel free to watch it back. And then, yeah, really take advantage of those links that Abby had in the presentation. They're just they'll benefit you in any way, even if you don't choose Accenture as a career, like she said. So still give them a look. And then we also, as on this presentation, we'll leave our contact information. So feel free to reach out to us via email. And then a few of us put our LinkedIns on here as well. So feel free to connect with us. I've had, other students at UK message me on LinkedIn before, or, email me. So don't feel intimidated or afraid to do that. We are here to, teach you more about what Accenture is, and answer any questions that we may not have answered during this time. So please feel free to reach out to any of us. But we have really enjoyed speaking with you all, and thank you again for joining. Maybe I'll pass it back to Ray if you want to close us out at all.
Thanks so much, Valerie and Accenture team. Really appreciated hosting you guys virtually today. Caitlin, thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate all the students who took time today to join us. It was nice to have a diversity of majors. I think it's representative of what the Accenture team were saying when it comes to just how open you all are to students from all academic disciplines and backgrounds. So we are looking forward to continuing to work with Accenture as we close out this academic year and look ahead to the summer and next year. So we'll make this presentation available, and we hope everybody has a great afternoon. And thank you again for attending today.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks all.
Thank you.